Hello guys, and welcome back to DarkHorse FM, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you a lower league tactic that is aggressive, out of possession, scores loads of goals while dominating possession even with players that are not that technically gifted. I'm calling this the lower league management domination, for short LL domination tactic. It's recreated from Darren's devastating FM23 4141 system. I go on to recreate this tactic in Football Manager very often, even since FM 2017, just to prove to myself and to anyone else that is interested that the Football Manager match engine hasn't really changed that much. The second reason I go on to test out this tactic every year in Football Manager is to give lower league teams, like teams in the Vanarama North and Vanarama League itself, to give them a chance to play a possession-based style of play. There are other reasons, or there are other ways I can go about creating possession-based tactics for lower leagues, but I feel this is the most aggressive version of a lower league possession-based tactic that you can go on to use in Football Manager. We're here in January, that's the 1st of January 2023, and currently York have been knocked out from the FA Cup. They're still in the FA Trophy, but they're currently sitting in first place. They've lost 5 times in the league, but they have a goal difference of 28. And we're still going to go on to the end of the season to see how long they can actually keep up this run. They're currently the highest scorers in the league with 51 goals, but looking at the Vanarama National League so far, York City, although they are first, they are predicted to finish in 16th place, and they were only just promoted to the league from the Vanarama National League, North or South. I can't really tell where they come from. So being one of the recently promoted teams predicted to finish in 16th, their chances of taking first towards the end of the season is quite slim. So it shows how well the tactic has been working so far, but it's an aggressive tactic, so I do expect them to wilt towards the end of the season. I do expect them to run out, like have so many players get injured, but it's also something that with a hands-on approach you can go on to manage. You can go on to rest some players, to go on to sign more players, have a bigger squad. Funny enough, in the lower leagues it's actually easier to sign players than if you're in the top leagues where you have to pay money for players. In the lower leagues you can go on to sign players on a free, you can go on to get players on loan, and the players don't have to be that good, they just have to be good at playing that role. And a central midfielder like Hancock, for example, I don't think it's that good. Like determination, okay, it has some aggression, which is 11, and in the top division 11 aggression is absolutely nothing because they can bully you and just throw you out. So but looking at these attributes, he's not that great, but he can do the job. So that's what you need in the lower league. So you can go on to sign players on a free, go on to get players on loans from bigger teams, and then you can have a thick squad you can use to contribute, or you can use to play the league with this tactic, even though the intensity is quite high. So we'll look at the tactic in detail. This is the lower league version, like I mentioned, but there is an elite version of this tactic which I'm going to go on to try and recreate as much as I can in Football Manager 2023 as well. So if you're new to the channel, remember to hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when the elite version of this tactic does come out. But this is well suited for lower leagues. As you can see, the player role selected, ideally you have 2 wingers on attack, but if you have an inverted winger on attack, that's good as well. You can switch one of the wingers, try and create some sense of confusion in the opposition's defense. Have one of the wingers play as an inverted winger and then the other guy play as a winger. That also works well for me in previous Football Manager games, but in this one I kind of kept both players as wingers on attack. There's a false 9 on support here, and it's tricky with the false 9 because I know in the lower leagues it might be difficult to find somebody that can play as a false 9, but if you have a deep line forward, a target forward on support, you can actually convert those players to play as a false 9. It sort of works well with this tactic, and with good training the player at some point is going to get familiar with that role and he's going to go on to play it. So don't worry about the player not being familiar with the role at first. If you go on to training to play that role, he might get he's eventually going to learn how to play that role. And then, as you can see, James, I don't think James is well suited to be like a false 9 per se. He's even an inverted winger, but with training he's good. He's now completely natural with the role. So without wasting any more time, let's go into the rules in detail. I'm going to attach a link in the description so you can download the tactic for yourself, but if you can't and you want to follow along with the video, you can do so now because I'm going to go through every player's instructions, every player's rules one by one. The sweeper keeper on defend, I opted for a sweeper keeper this time because I just wanted somebody that was going to come and stop the counter attacks since we're using a high defensive line. Normally this is going to be a standard goalkeeper on defend for lower leagues. The fullbacks on attack duty have the following instructions: cross on the byline, dribble more, run wide with the ball, stay wider, and mark tighter. The fullbacks on the left hand side also have the same instructions. It's quite identical. 2 central defenders on defend are your 2 centre backs. They have been asked to close down less, tackle harder, and mark tighter. You have a halfback in defensive midfield and he has been asked to shoot less often and to mark tighter. Your centre midfield is a central attacking midfielder on attack and an advanced playmaker on attack duty in Greaves, and he has been asked to get further forward, close down more, and mark tighter. The central midfielder on attack has been asked to dribble more, shoot less often, move into channels, close down more, tackle harder, and mark tighter. The 2 wingers do have identical instructions and they have been asked to play more direct passes, roam from their positions, tackle harder and mark tighter. Roaming from position kind of helps the winger on attack to act like an inverted winger if he sees the opportunity to do so. So if you're using an inverted winger, you can still go on to leave the room from position instructions to try and create a lot more confusion in the opposition's defense. The false 9 on support duty is your only forward, and he has been asked to play more direct passes. He's acting like a creator in the side because your the midfield 4 are going to be the one actually getting into the box and trying to score goals. So your creator is actually the false 9 on support. Play more direct passing, shoot less often, roam from positions, move into channels, close down more, tackle harder and mark tighter. Those are the instructions for this guy. And then there's going to be a lot of roaming and interchanging of positions in this system, making it more difficult for the opposition to try and defend people, try and mark players and be specific about their marking. So it's going to be difficult for the AI to deal with. A lot of instructions, I know, but it sort of works well in this game, and everybody has their role, everybody knows their role, and you don't really change much with the tactic. The only thing that I know you can go on to tweak is in the in possession instructions, which we're going to go through briefly. Looking at the players' general mentality for this tactic has been asked to stay positive, try and create chances, but you can see the width, the defensive width in this sense is very narrow, even though we're using wingers and fullbacks on attack. The main idea is to try and play through the middle and try and break through the opposition's central midfield and then force them to try and be more compressive. That kind of allows the fullback on attack to try and get into wide areas and play crosses into the box. But if you notice that the opposition is quite deep defensively and they're quite solid and it's difficult to break them down, you can go on to switch to a fairly wide attacking width. I never really push it to wide in any sense, just fairly wide attacking width. That sort of works well. Or yeah, I kind of leave it on fairly wide. I've not really pushed it to wide for any reason. So for now it's going to be on narrow because that's the default. Shorter passing is also required for this tactic because it's a possession based tactic. There's a lot of running as well, so slightly higher tempo. Play the ball out of defense, walk the ball through the middle like I mentioned, and then looking for the overlap. That's to allow the fullbacks to get up ahead and try and play those crosses into the box. The team has also they've also been asked to whip their crosses into the box as opposed to low crosses. Low crosses I know works well in Football Manager, but in this case I want the ball to be driven across the floor in Football Manager. That's with a lot of whip, and the defenders are probably going to have a lot of confusion dealing with it, and more often than not they might go on to score an own goal. But the attackers have also been asked to run at defense and be more expressive with their creativity. In transition, the team has been asked to counter press and to counter, but then you notice that the goalkeeper has been instructed to slow the pace down as opposed to just rushing it and trying to hoof the ball off. He's asked to distribute it to the fullbacks and roll it out so we can start the play from the back and try and build forward from there, and then go on to hit the opposition with a precise attacking build-up play. Looking at the team's out of possession instructions, they have been asked to play with a high press and a high defensive line. That sort of works well for this tactic as well, and it kind of compresses the pitch into this mid-block, a high mid-block. I was sort of going to call it a high block kind of. So much more often trigger press and preferential goalkeeper distributions. All these players that are in here, the attacking midfielders, they are going to get ahead to try and press the defensive midfielder and stop the goalkeeper from playing the ball to the centre backs or to the fullbacks. The two attackers are going to, or let me say, the two wingers are going to go on to press their fullbacks and try to stop the goalkeeper from playing the ball to them, forcing him to play the ball long in the air, and then you can win the ball from area positions. The team has also been instructed to get stuck in, but this one I'm really skeptical about it because you will get cards. But in the lower leagues, I've noticed that being aggressive is more beneficial. If you try to stay on feet, the opposition is going to be aggressive and they're going to kick you all over the park. So kick them first. Use get stuck in. So we're going to run to the end of the season to see how well York go on to do, if they can actually hang on as much as this tactic is very high intensity. They've managed to stay first in the league, even though they were predicted to finish in 16th. So that's good. It's kind of like a good season, and it's a good thing to build on. With the money that could come into this team for finishing in a high position as well, that's quite good. So we're going to go into the end of the season to see if they eventually go on to win the title, if they eventually fall off, and how badly they fall off. Hopefully they will not fall off too badly, but we're going to see how the tactic goes on to finish at the end of the season. Okay, season complete, 9th of May 2023. Let's see how well they did. Well, I can't really tell from here, so I'm going to need to go to the competitions. Okay, Yeovil Town against Bromley in the final. So York were not involved in the playoffs, so hopefully, I don't know who won. Oh, defending champions Stockport. I think Stockport went on to win the league. Where is the table? How do I? Okay, here we go. They dropped to 3rd. So that didn't go very well. They went on to lose 6 more games from match day 25 to match day 46. They had 88 goals for, which is quite good. Well, they did concede a lot, but 87 points in total. And then the team that went on to take first and second were 91 and 90. So they were just 3 points off the top. They'll probably have a better season. I think I'm going to go with the hands-on approach for the next year with York. I'm actually interested in this save now. This is something quite interesting. So looking at the overall tactics to see how well they did, the most goals in the league was York 88. Most possession, Notts County and York were there with 54%, down in 5th. So Notts County went on and had to have the highest amount of possession. Most dribbles was by York, so they did run a lot. Most tackles won York, very aggressive, just like we expected. And then it kind of gave them a good season, even though they were predicted to finish like mid-table. So it's, well, not that bad. Well, with the hands-on approach, you're probably going to get better results with this tactic. I did enjoy going on with this. I'm actually really interested in this save right now. So that's the way the tactic worked out for York. We had a good season all round. Everybody's on vacation now, so that's kind of cool. You can clear the entire team. So I'm going to go on to attach a link in the description so you can download this tactic for yourself. But I've gone through the video I've gone through all team instructions and player instructions, so you can go on to recreate the tactic by going into the specific areas in the video where you can see how that tactic roles and instructions build up. So I'll catch you guys in the next video with more Football Manager hints and tips and tactics like this, even for lower league teams. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when new tactic videos come out. I'll catch you guys in the next video. By the way, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing to the channel. We did get above 1,000 subscribers and we're still growing and growing. So I thank you guys a lot for all the support and all the love that you give for the channel. I'll catch you guys much later with more Football Manager hints and tips and tactic videos like this. See you later.